If your child looks you in the eye and says no, ignores you, or does the exact opposite of what you asked, I need you to hear this clearly in the next 30 seconds. This is not disrespect. This is not defiance. And it is not a character flaw. What you are seeing is not a behavior problem. It is a brain in development. And if you respond to it as disobedience instead of biology, you will fight your child instead of teaching them. Most parenting advice treats no as a will issue, as attitude, as something to correct. But the truth is much more fascinating and far more hopeful. When your child says no, their brain is not trying to challenge your authority. It is trying to build itself. In early childhood, the brain is under construction. The prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for impulse control, emotional regulation, and flexible thinking, is not fully online. In fact, it will not be fully mature until the mid-20s. What is very active, however, is the limbic system, the emotional center of the brain, and the survival circuitry that scans for control, safety, and autonomy. When you give a command, your child's brain does not hear it as neutral information. It processes it through emotion and threat detection first. Do this can feel like I'm being controlled. And when the brain senses loss of control, it pushes back, not because your child is bad, because their nervous system is wired to protect autonomy. This is why no often shows up around the same developmental window as walking, climbing, and exploring. The brain is discovering separation. The child is realizing, I am not you. That realization is powerful. It is the beginning of identity. And identity needs boundaries to form. So when your toddler says no, what they are really saying is, I am separate. I have agency. I am testing the edges of myself. This is not disobedience. This is neurological growth. But here's where it gets tricky. The same brain that is pushing for autonomy does not yet have the wiring to manage frustration, disappointment, or delay. So when you hold a limit, the brain experiences it as loss, and loss activates emotion, and emotion overwhelms logic. This is why reasoning rarely works in the heat of the moment. You are talking to the thinking brain, but the emotional brain is driving. This is also why repetition doesn't work the way we expect. When you repeat a command, the brain does not hear it as help. It hears it as pressure, and pressure activates resistance. The more you push, the more the nervous system defends. Not because your child is stubborn, but because their brain is trying to stay in control. Understanding this changes everything, because now you're not trying to break will. You're trying to build skills. You're not asking, how do I make my child listen? You're asking, how do I help their brain feel safe enough to cooperate? This is where parenting becomes less about authority and more about regulation. When you stay calm, you lend your nervous system to your child. When you get loud, their brain goes into threat mode. When you connect first, cooperation comes more easily. This is not permissive. This is neurological. Before we go any further, if this is already shifting how you see your child, take a second to like this video and leave a comment telling me how old your child is. And if you want deeper tools, real scripts, and early access to upcoming content, this channel also has a membership with 2 levels that unlock exclusive and preview materials for parents who want to go beyond surface advice. Make sure you're subscribed to the Parenting Blueprint so you don't miss what's coming next. Because when you understand the brain, the behavior stops feeling personal. And parenting stops feeling like a battle. It starts feeling like guidance. Once you understand that no is not defiance but development, you begin to see power struggles in a completely different light. What looks like resistance on the surface is often a child trying to stabilize themselves internally. Their brain is asking, do I have a voice? Do I matter? Am I safe even when I disagree? These are not small questions. These are identity questions. And they are being asked long before a child has the language to express them. When a child hears a command, their brain quickly evaluates it, not logically, but emotionally. It checks for threat. It checks for control. It checks for autonomy. If the instruction feels sudden, forceful, or non-negotiable, the emotional brain can interpret it as a loss of power. And the emotional brain always reacts before the thinking brain has a chance to engage. This is why children often say no before they even fully understand what you asked. The reaction is automatic. It is protective. This is also why children can be cooperative one moment and resistant the next. Their nervous system is still immature. It fluctuates based on fatigue, hunger, sensory input, and emotional load. When their system is regulated, cooperation flows. When it is overloaded, resistance appears. This is not inconsistency. It is neurological capacity. The mistake many parents make is assuming that resistance needs more pressure, louder voice, sharper tone, bigger consequence. But pressure does not create safety, and safety is what allows the brain to shift from defense to cooperation. When a child feels threatened, the brain narrows. It moves into fight, flight, or freeze. Listening shuts down. Learning shuts down. All that remains is survival. This is why yelling rarely works long-term. It may stop behavior in the moment, but it does not build skill. It teaches the brain that connection is conditional. And a brain that feels unsafe does not become more cooperative. It becomes more guarded. Children are not ignoring you because they don't care. They are ignoring you because their brain is overwhelmed. They are saying no because their system is trying to regain balance. When you see it this way, the goal shifts. You are no longer trying to control behavior. You are trying to support regulation. This is also why choices are so powerful. When you offer a child two acceptable options, the brain experiences agency. Agency reduces threat. Threat reduction opens the door to cooperation. The child still follows your boundary, but their nervous system does not feel trapped. This is not manipulation. This is respecting how the brain works. Tone matters more than words. A calm, grounded tone signals safety. A sharp, urgent tone signals danger. Even when the words are the same, the nervous system hears the tone. Children are exquisitely sensitive to emotional cues. Long before they understand logic, they understand energy. And connection always comes before compliance. When a child feels seen, their brain softens. When they feel ignored or controlled, their brain hardens. A moment of eye contact, a gentle touch, or a simple acknowledgement can shift the entire interaction. This is not spoiling. This is regulation. There will be times when your child still says no. That does not mean you failed. It means they are human. It means their brain is still growing. Your job is not to eliminate resistance. Your job is to guide them through it, to hold limits without threat, to offer structure without shame, to teach without fear. Because every time you respond with calm instead of control, you are shaping the architecture of their brain. You are teaching them that boundaries can exist without rupture, that disagreement does not mean disconnection, that they are safe even when they struggle. This is how emotional security is built, not through obedience, through trust. And trust changes everything. The most important shift you can make as a parent is this. Stop asking, how do I make my child listen? And start asking, what does their brain need in this moment? Because cooperation is not commanded, it is invited. A regulated brain can listen. A dysregulated brain cannot. And young children live in a near constant state of sensory and emotional intensity. When your child says no, their nervous system is often overwhelmed, not oppositional. The lights might be too bright, the noise too loud, the day too long, the transition too sudden. Their capacity is not infinite. And when capacity is exceeded, the brain protects itself. It withdraws, resists, or explodes. This is not manipulation. It is biology. This is why timing matters. Asking for cooperation when a child is hungry, tired, overstimulated, or emotionally flooded is like asking a sprinter to run on a broken leg. The refusal is not personal, it is protective. And when you recognize this, you stop taking no as rejection. You see it as a signal. Signals are information. They tell you what the brain is experiencing. Is it overloaded? Is it threatened? Is it trying to assert autonomy? When you respond to the signal instead of the surface behavior, everything shifts. You become a guide instead of an enforcer, and guidance builds capacity. Repair also matters more than perfection. There will be moments when you get it wrong, when you raise your voice, when you push too hard, when you feel yourself slipping into control. That does not undo the relationship. What heals is repair. A simple, calm, "I'm sorry I got loud. Let's try again." That teaches more than any lecture ever could. It teaches accountability. It teaches safety. It teaches that connection can be restored. Over time, this approach builds something powerful. It builds internal regulation. Your child learns to calm themselves because you first calmed with them. They learn to cooperate because they felt respected. They learn to trust because they were not shamed for struggling. This is how self-discipline is formed, not through fear, but through felt safety. And here is the truth most parenting culture misses. Children do not become cooperative by being controlled. They become cooperative by being understood. When a child feels emotionally safe, their brain opens. When it opens, learning happens. When learning happens, behavior changes. This does not mean there are no limits. It means limits are held without threat. It means boundaries are firm and energy is soft. It means you are the structure, not the storm. And children thrive inside that kind of leadership. The goal is not a child who never says no. The goal is a child who feels safe enough to say no and still stay connected. That is emotional security. That is resilience. That is strength. If this video has changed the way you see your child's behavior, take a moment to like this video, leave a comment sharing what you're noticing with your child, and subscribe to the Parenting Blueprint so you can keep learning how to parent the brain, not just the behavior. Because when you understand what's happening beneath the surface, parenting stops feeling like a power struggle and starts feeling like a relationship.